Oliver, Mr. Oliver's resource page. Mr. Oliver, Mr. Oliver, Mr. Oliver's resource page. Mr. Oliver, Mr. Oliver, Mr. Oliver's resource page. Oh, whoa, whoa. All right, y'all. The first thing I want you to do is just look at these 3 decimal grids, and I want you to just pause the video and write your notices and wonders. Okay, just anything you're noticing and wondering, especially when you compare and contrast these 3 decimal grids. All right, so let's go ahead and compare and contrast these. First of all, let's get one thing out the way. Every one of the squares themselves, the large squares themselves, equal 1. Okay, so what we're really focused on is the portion that's shaded compared to the whole. You all know how that is when we were talking about fractions. So let's look at the top one. Let's talk about how many are separated into. When you count all of them, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. Okay, so as a fraction, that would be represented as tenths. All right, so when we talk about that shaded portion, there is 1 out of the 10 shaded. So as a fraction, it would be represented as 1/10. All right. And let's go ahead and while we're representing it as a fraction, we're going to really talk about the decimal portion also. So as it's represented as a fraction 1/10, as a decimal 1/10 is represented place value wise is 1 place to the right of the decimal. So that's going to be 1/10. All right. So now let's talk about the next one. The next one, it's not separated into 10 rows. It's separated into how many? I think you see, let's count all those cubes. When you count them, there should be 10 rows of 10 cubes. So altogether, there's 100. So now we need to be talking about what's shaded out of those 100. There's one little cube shaded out of the 100. So we're going to represent that as a fraction 1/100. And when we do that as a fraction, your hundredths place is 2 places to the right of the decimal point. So we're going to represent that as 100th decimal wise. Now, the bottom part. It looks like it's in even smaller pieces, right? So now, this one is going to be only 1 out of the 1,000 pieces are shaded. So now let's represent that as a fraction, 1/1000th. And then as a decimal is going to be 1/1000th, which is 3 away from the decimal point. All right, 3 to the right of the decimal point. And we're going to get into more of that. All right, so let's go ahead and represent all this on our placement value chart. Because when you look at the decimal grids, it's kind of easy to distinguish that all of them are different sizes. But when we show it on a placement value chart, I think it'll give some context as to why they're different sizes. A lot of times when you talk about place value, a digit, sure, a digit is just a number, but depending on where that digit is, placement value wise, is going to determine the actual value of the digit itself. So when we have a digit in the tenths place, like that 1, it's not just 1, it's 1 times 1/10. So you can represent that on your placement value chart. When that same digit, that same 1 is in the hundredths place, now it represents 1 times 100. And now when that same digit is in the thousandths place, it's not just 1, it's 1 times 1,000. So when you take a look, let's look at where it is in the thousandths place. When it goes to the left once, the value jumps up by 10 into your hundredths place. When that one digit goes from the hundredths place to the tenths place, now it jumps up 10 times and it goes to 1/10. So basically, every time that digit is moving one place to the left, placement value wise, it's growing by 10, which is why we always focus on that powers of 10.